What's up, guys? I'm gonna do a video on SOS tonight. So let's just take a look at everything that's been going on. So I've been tracking this thing quite a bit because I did love the movement that it did, obviously, which was a fucking great blast off here. Excuse me. Sorry. And you can see here that we were creating a big, which looks like a pennant, but could it be a pennant? I don't know if this actually. I might actually want to see something real quick. I didn't even look at that. I just saw this now. So if we look here, actually, right, base it off of this wick. So although this looked like a extremely bullish pattern here, right, because it looked like it could be a big bull pennant, because it has this flat bottom, it actually was a bearish pattern. This is a descending triangle here. So if we looked on the weekly time frame on this thing, we could actually see, okay, can't see the pattern, but you could actually see that the area was very, very overbought territory. So it was kind of to be expected that this thing would have an extreme pullback here. We did have this following week is actually going to be a TD9 flash. So because we had this pullback, I'm very curious to see actually if we do get some type of green TD9 weekly flash, because if it ends up being red, which usually occurs when something hasn't pulled back yet, it's been on a big run and so on and so forth. So we could just get a 1, which would reset the RSI, or we could get a green, which would be a very big buy signal, of course. A lot of people would look at this thing and be like, why would there be a buy signal? Look at it, what it did, blah, 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 blah. I lost so much money up here, this and that, which in reality, your stop loss would have wanted to be below this 1040. But, not everybody uses stop losses. Not everyone's in this to do, trades and stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. So let's see this. So on the daily here, you can see we have a pink TD9. We had a pink TD9 flash here, which was insinuating downside, as well as the spinning top. And this candle here, actually, that you see on the daily candle, was actually showing that the buyers were able to push this price all the way up here, right? But the sellers managed to come in and sell it off and push it all the way down here and actually bring it all the way down to this trend line. And then the buyers were able to buy it back up, and we opened here and we closed here, so on and so forth. So that's just kind of what that's insinuating, which to me is showing a sign of weakness here, because usually when the sellers are more in control, then you're going to have these massive wicks in some situations if the body isn't like massive. Of course, this is just showing the buyers opened here and brought the price action all the way up here, and then the sellers were able to come in, sell, and push here, but the buyers were still able to hold the price here. So obviously there always is going to be selling, but when you don't have much below it, that's really showing that the buyers are very, very strong. Once you start getting a little bit of wicks below, it starts showing that the sellers are starting to take a little bit control, especially when you have these massive wicks here and small bodies. So just wanted to go through that real quick just to show you. And then obviously the same goes with the red candles. And then they're red because every time they close below a green candle, they are red. So that's how you get these green and red candles. The previous candle was closed higher than this candle, so that's where you get the red. That's just a random fun fact. If most people know that, but if you don't, there you go. So anyway, so obviously we had this big downtrend here, and I had a breakdown target of 598, which was $6, and we bought right back up. And I actually bought it here at the $6 level one of these days last week, and it ran all the way back up to almost $8. And I did sell it because I was starting to look on these smaller time frames, do some quick analysis, and trying to figure out what we were doing here when I did get this around this $6 range. And then we had this big green TD9 flash, so I was expecting that we could potentially buy back up to this level or so on and so forth. And then we started consolidating here. right? So I was like, maybe we're consolidating to create something better. And then I looked and realized that it was in a what looked to me like a bear flag here. So, and that's a continuation of a further downside, of course. So then I had my breakdown target here, this green line, and I had a breakdown target of $5 even. Now, of course, you can see that we did, in fact, come a lot lower than that. We actually came all the way down to 421. So you see this green support line here, and this is based off of this bigger pattern here, which my lines aren't perfect. This is on the hourly. It would line up a lot better if I showed you on the weekly here. But needless to say, we could actually go by this here, right? 441 roughly. But I'm going to keep it where it is because I think I did pretty well with that. Let me just double check on that because I didn't zoom in on it here. So that wick, I mean, yeah, I guess we could say like something like that, okay? But obviously you can see that we went a little bit below this area here. So roughly, somewhere in this range here is going to be a support range anyway. But so let's just look back at the hourly here. So, obviously the box is pretty big of where it could go, but that's just based off of this wick here and this consolidation here and our run up here. We just basically just did this beautiful consolidation here where we laddered up, we ran up, had a few red days, or red, these are hourly candles, but red hourly candles, so on and so forth, consolidated. Then we broke, and then once we broke up above here and we managed to get above here, and that was when the volume started really rolling in, and this was our breakout. And we had this beautiful, beautiful breakout here. And, you could actually figure out what that breakout was if you wanted to real quick, which just to see how accurate it was here. And let's see. And it probably ran it definitely ran way higher than my expected target would have been, unless I'm drawing this chart wrong here. But my expected target would have been $9.30, and we ran all the way up to $15.83. And then we created this potential bearish pattern here, and we broke the hell down from it. And I guess you could even say, because obviously the breakdown to me wouldn't have been that, but if you went off of this here, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't normally say, if this was a bullpen, and I guess you could break down the size of the flag, but I don't usually do that, so I'm not even going to go like that. So I'm just going to keep it how it is. So anyway, so where we are right now is right on top of this old resistance, right? We never really back tested this much here when we broke out. We just kind of took off, which is a little more, concerning, because when you don't spend much time consolidating on top of new support, it doesn't allow for much time for it to be very strong support. Although we do know that once we got above it here, because we were consolidating below it here, once we did break above it, we did come up with some insane power, right? But now we're coming down with some insane power. And sometimes when you come down with insane force, it makes it very hard for support to hold in those aspects here. So you can kind of see we continuously keep laddering down here. So let's take a look at the RSI here and see if there's any signs of us getting any type of potential bounces here on the short term. So let me see if I can see anything that we could be forming. To me, it kind of looks like the same. Excuse me, sorry. To me, it kind of seems like the same old laddering down effect beginning right here too, right? But there's nothing that's really showing us that just yet. Could we say that this was a gigantic falling channel? We could potentially look for something like that. Let's just check and see, because if we do get some kind of buyback here, or we just consolidate, yeah, no, I can't really. I feel like I'd be forcing it here, right? Yeah, I can't even do that. So for now, I don't really think we would go much lower here, but we'll have to wait and see how this works out. I mean, if this is getting insanely shorted, you know, unfortunately, because we didn't spend much time here, you know, I'm going to show you some support here, 332, and obviously, absolute worst case scenario here, $1.30. I personally don't think we're going all the way down there. I think that this is going to consolidate here, even if it goes sideways here for a while, right? And we just finally get that consolidation that we really needed on this new support level. And to me, that would be the best case scenario. So, you know, obviously on this smaller time frames, it looks pretty bad. We did break right through the daily 20 EMA, which is pretty bad. We had a pretty sizable drop here, but what didn't, right? But this looks like a wow. I might be a little overshooting it, but this is a 73% correction. Jesus. Boy, oh boy. That's insane. So that was the drop, 73% drop. So as of now, we did get a nice bounce there. So like I said, we could consolidate here between this 431 and this 396 level here. Let's see on the weekly here, and I'll pull up some Ichimoku clouds. So obviously you got that spinning top here, and you're basically showing your support and resistance here. So you get your resistance up in this range, 1173, and your support way down here, 1414 roughly. And your RSI is still coming down here. So if we take a look here on the moving averages, though, it looks like you're actually going to be getting a potential golden cross here over the next few weeks here. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to push the price up, because, you know, it just doesn't have to when you're correcting like this. But that is a good sign longer term that it is going into a bull market here. I mean, obviously this it's pretty clear that it was in a very good uptrend here. Now, you know, let's see if we could find some confluence here if it did break that trend line there and we did actually go lower. So another thing you can do here is you can go off of your area of support there, right? And then you can go off of your area of old resistance right here. So based off of this here, this shows you where your support could actually land, which is roughly 454. And if it continued on here, and this actually does continue to be new support, then you could actually climb this a little bit here throughout the weeks, whether it continues bouncing up and down here or what it does. But let me see on the Ichimoku cloud and see what we got for support down here. So obviously you have very strong support at 325 on the weekly time frame, but there should be some higher support. Oh, the support's pretty low on that, actually, on the daily too. So unfortunately your cloud support is at 265 if it did actually want to pummel that hard. And it kind of all goes along with that as well, with that being, you have this cloud support here at 347. You have our support box here based off of these old wicks at 329. But like I said, that still depends, because we still have to hopefully hold this level as support here. And you're starting to get down in these overextended levels here. And the 4 hour could come a little bit more down. On the daily, you have a lot more down to go if it does in fact want to go further down. It definitely has a lot more it can go down, so that has to be kept in mind here. So I mean, I don't know if any of this is helping. I really hope it is. But you know, this isn't something personally that I'll be getting into here. I did like it when I did that little swing trade there, but I would probably just try to keep my eyes on it here throughout the few weeks here. So we can look at some upside resistance here. So upside resistance is 537, And the highest, really, I mean, obviously $6 and as high as $6.89 is going to be very, very strong resistance. And this is only on a 15-minute time frame, of course, but that is still going to cycle out to the larger time frames. I mean, you could see here 639, and right now your biggest resistance is 537. So it could be a while before this thing, comes back to life. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I really just would like to see it continue to hold support where it kind of roughly is here, bouncing between 462 and 537. To me, that would actually be very good for it to kind of consolidate here, even if it just goes sideways for some time, while all these moving averages kind of do their thing and fall into place and come up back under before we can start rolling all the moving averages back up and continue on our run here. So that's kind of where I'm at here. So I'm not really looking for that much lower, but a lot can happen. We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, this area to me is very, very good support as far as based off of the pattern breakout. And that would be something to keep in mind. So hopefully this helps. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And hopefully I'll have some more for you later on. Peace.